Hey there, Sarah from Sarah Appleford Nutrition here. I am back with another review on a meal provider, and this time I'm looking at one of the biggest names, and that is HelloFresh. So HelloFresh have developed a reputation over the years for being a really great provider for meal kits. So these are where they provide all the ingredients that you would need to make a delicious recipe and all the steps that you need to follow. So even those with very limited cooking skills should be able to produce a delicious looking dish like this one. Now, I tried HelloFresh a number of years ago when they first started, and that was back when I was part of a couple, but now I've got a family. I'm really interested to see how HelloFresh compares with other providers in terms of meeting the needs of a family, also in regards to their cost and the taste of the meals. Does it meet the high expectations of some young eaters? So HelloFresh, as I said, allows you to pick some meals and you get the packs. So these come in quite a lot of packaging for the family of 4, which I chose. That's 4 meals for the week at 4 serves. Now these are about $8.99 per serve for each meal, and then you've got a $10 delivery. Having said that, there are lots and lots of discount codes around for HelloFresh, so you can usually try your first box relatively cheaply. So in terms of what I look for when I'm looking at meal providers, either for myself or my clients, the first thing really comes down to the quality of ingredients and the nutrition profile and the balance of the meals. Now, when it comes to looking at families, I'm also looking at the convenience and the cost. At the moment, HelloFresh is quite affordable when you do the first order and you get a great discount code, but going forward, it can become quite expensive. But you're paying for the convenience, right? You don't have to worry about things like meal planning. You don't have to worry about choosing recipes, learning different complicated skills of cooking. You also don't have to worry about going shopping. This comes right to your doorstep. So I look at this and think this is so great for families when they have a really busy schedule but still want to put really nourishing whole food meals on the table. I also think this would be a great option for families if they're on holidays and there is a delivery of HelloFresh in that area, because the last thing you want to be doing is slaving in the kitchen when you're on holidays with your kids. So there are definite bonuses for this. I'm going to try these meals this week, and I'm going to not only try and see how they taste and how easy they are to make, I'm also going to see how easy they are to make with kids. As a nutritionist with an interest in kids' health, I do like to promote getting kids in the kitchen as much as possible. And with the fact that these menus and steps are so easy, this is a really great way to get your kids interested in food and getting involved in the food preparation. So stay tuned. Okay, so my family have enjoyed the HelloFresh meal delivery box with the family style meals in there, and I must say there were some prizes, both positive and negative. So let's start with the positive. So the first thing is that it's hard to argue with how convenient HelloFresh is. You have your meals delivered to your doorstep. They're all prepared in the individual packs. You have very easy to read recipe cards. They're ready to go, and the actual meals to cook are quite simple. So it is very convenient. As I said, the meals are very easy to cook. You've got these simple recipe cards here with some easy instructions. It does make it fun, it's visual, great for young kids or for parents with limited cooking skills. So the ease is very welcomed when you are cooking for a family. Probably one of the biggest surprising things and a positive aspect of the HelloFresh meal boxes is that their portion sizes are very generous. In fact, I cooked the meals for 4, but I actually could get at least 6 portions out of each meal, which was great. So it meant that we had some leftovers. You could essentially shrink it down a little bit more and maybe buffer it with some steamed vegetables, for example, or serve it up with a little treat at the end. So, unlike many of the other convenient meal providers where perhaps we see that the portions are a bit limited, particularly if you have a high energy output or you are just a big eater like, say, my husband, then this is a really great change. The other thing is that the meals all tasted really great. The ingredients were pretty fresh, bar, say, maybe some little sad looking herbs, but on the whole, the ingredients looked really fresh, which is great. From a family friendly point of view, the meals were really basic and easy to adapt to suit anyone's taste preferences. So if you need to deconstruct the meal a little bit, you can do, but they're all pretty familiar flavors that I'm sure many families would enjoy. So there were some of the positives. Now down to maybe some of the negatives that I saw. So some of the negatives were that while the meals were larger in portions, that also meant that they were higher in calories, and some meals were really calorie rich, up to about 920 calories per serve. So that's a significant portion out of my daily intake. So you can combat this by removing some of the things like, say, this creamy pesto dressing here, which is about 140 calories per serve. So we didn't use any of this. But otherwise, you don't really have much option in terms of playing with the meals. Having said that, that is different from obviously pre-prepared meals where you can't adapt it at all. So something to consider. In terms of the ingredients, some were a little bit hit and miss. For example, this creamy pesto dressing, while it's not all about calories, of course, but this is mostly canola oil followed by water. And then you've got a few flavorings in there. So it's not really health promoting at all. Also with the ingredients, the labeling, some of the products have the labeling on here like this with the nutrition information. So if you are maybe counting your calories or you're wanting to check on your macros, you can do that. Whereas others will just have a clear pouch and there's no ingredients. Also, the actual ingredients on the card is just the main ingredients. For example, mini flour tortillas, but you actually don't know what's in them. So you have to look back online, which is a little bit of a pain. HelloFresh also don't really cater for dietary requirements. So on their website, you will see some of the meals will say not suitable for celiac. You'll also have some vegetarian options, which are both great. However, I didn't see any vegetarian options in the family meal range. And, there's no sort of options if, for example, if you're like me, that go dairy free. So therefore you have to try and pick out of the limited number of meals what you can eat or how you can adapt the meals, which is what I ended up doing, adapting the meals to suit my dietary requirements. But this can be a bit tricky if you're dealing with a family with several little quirks. One of the other negatives is while that you weren't wasting food waste when preparing, which is often the case. We go shopping and we've got a bunch of kale or silver beet there that wilts and we never use it. So these, because they're pre-packed, you are using every bit of the ingredients, which is great. But as a result, you're also having lots of different little plastic sleeves and packets that you may not have otherwise had if you had made the meal from scratch yourself. So that's a little bit of a downside. The cost is probably a prohibitive factor on whether families can afford to subscribe to HelloFresh as an ongoing and regular order. So the meals are $8.99 per serve, which makes it about $36 a meal, which adds up to nearly $150 a week for just 4 meals. Now, if you order some or change your meal plan, for example, I ordered a fast and fresh meal, which I thought was only going to come as a 2-serve, and I was pleasantly surprised to see it was a 4-person meal, but they did charge $10 in order to do that. So that does increase your overall order cost. It's something to keep in mind. It definitely is more expensive than if you were going to cook and shop and cook the meal from scratch. Having said that, you do pay for the convenience, right? And also, finally, the last negative I guess I had was that there was only 5 family meals to choose from. So it is a bit of a limited range. It'd be great if that extended a little bit more, maybe included some more vegetarian options in there. But you only have the 5 unless you're willing to pay a little bit more and swap out some of those meals. Overall, did I enjoy the HelloFresh meal box? Yes, I did, and so did the rest of my family. Would I order it again on a regular basis? Probably not. There are 3 real main reasons. One, some of the ingredients were things that we just don't tend to eat, particularly those in the sauces and the dressings. And the fact that it really doesn't accommodate a lot of dietary requirements, which is a bit prohibitive for our family. And finally, the cost. I mean, to make some of these meals from scratch is a lot less than when ordering. And I love cooking, I love preparing and meal prepping, so it doesn't pay off for me in terms of the convenience versus the cost. But if you want to check out the full review I've written up about the service of HelloFresh, their range, their taste and the nutrition, head to mealprep.com.au. If you've tried HelloFresh or perhaps one of the other convenient meal providers, make sure you jump on mealprep.com.au and leave your own review so we can compare notes. It'd be great to see what your thoughts were on this meal provider. If you liked this video and want to see more, make sure you give it a thumbs up.